It started as a normal school year at Clearwater High. Ms. Lauren Mitchell, 32, was known among students and staff as one of the most engaging and passionate teachers in the English department. Her classroom felt like a second home to many students. The walls were lined with classic novels, motivational quotes, and softly lit by warm desk lamps that gave a comforting glow, especially during the gloomy fall days. She had a special way of making even the most uninterested student care about Shakespeare or understand the symbolism in The Great Gatsby. Lauren was respected by her peers, liked by her students, and trusted by parents. She had built a reputation for going the extra mile for anyone who needed help. But behind her bright smile and lesson plans was a woman who had always struggled to draw lines between personal investment and professional boundaries. She told herself it was because she cared, and perhaps that was true. But nobody, not even Lauren, saw what was coming. The trouble began quietly. Two students in particular caught her attention that year. Jason Miller, 18, was outgoing, witty, and charming. He was well-liked by nearly everyone, from the football team to the theater kids. He had a natural ease about him, the kind that could make even the most hard-edged teachers smile. Then there was Eli Thompson, also 18, who couldn't have been more different. Eli was quiet, introspective, and brilliant. He preferred the back of the room and rarely spoke unless called upon. But his essays revealed a deep emotional intelligence that stunned Lauren. At first, it was just extra help after school. Jason asked if she could look over his college application essays. Lauren said yes. Of course, she always said yes. Eli lingered one afternoon with a question about a poem he had written, and Lauren, moved by the vulnerability in his writing, offered to read more if he ever felt like sharing. And he did. Within weeks, she was staying after school 2 or 3 days a week, sometimes with Jason, sometimes with Eli, sometimes both. The conversations grew longer. The topics wandered away from school and into more personal territory. Jason opened up about his family, how his parents were always fighting and how school was his escape. Eli confessed that he didn't really have friends and often felt invisible. Lauren listened. She offered encouragement, support, and in her own way, comfort. She believed she was helping. They were just students, after all. And she was just a teacher trying to make a difference. But slowly, subtly, the dynamic began to shift. Jason started sending her texts outside of school hours. At first, it was innocent, a quick question about an assignment or a joke about something that happened in class. Then the messages became more frequent, more personal. He asked what she was doing, told her about his day, and once sent a late-night message that simply read, "You're the only adult who really gets me." Lauren didn't know how to respond. Part of her felt proud, like she had created a safe space for him. But another part, the part she tried to ignore, felt uneasy. Eli, too, began expressing himself more boldly. He gifted her a handmade bookmark with a line from her favorite book, something he had remembered from an offhand comment weeks earlier. He wrote poems that seemed directed at her, filled with admiration and emotional longing. She tried to keep things professional. She reminded them of her role. But when they looked at her, with those vulnerable eyes, seeking validation, she found it hard to pull away. These boys weren't just students anymore. They were people she cared about. Deeply. The staff began to whisper. Nothing concrete, just subtle remarks in the lounge. "Lauren spends a lot of time with those boys, huh?" one teacher murmured. "She's always been a little too involved," another added. Her friend and fellow teacher, Melissa Grant, finally said something outright during lunch one day. "I'm saying this because I care about you," Melissa began. "But you've got to put some space between you and those two. People are noticing. It's not a good look." Lauren was defensive. "They're just kids who need help. I'm not doing anything wrong." "I'm not saying you are," Melissa said gently. "But it doesn't matter what your intentions are. It's about perception.
And right now?
It doesn't look great." That night, Lauren couldn't sleep. She thought about every conversation, every late text, every lingering glance. She told herself she had never crossed a line. But she also knew she hadn't drawn any either. The breaking point came during the senior trip planning committee. Lauren volunteered as one of the faculty chaperones. Jason and Eli both joined the committee. From the start, there was tension. Jason made passive-aggressive remarks when Eli spoke. Eli responded with cold silence and cutting stares. The rivalry between them was growing, and Lauren was caught in the middle. During one of the meetings, the two boys got into a heated argument over something trivial, snack options for the bus ride. But the hostility ran deeper than trail mix or soda choices. After the meeting, Eli waited until everyone had left and asked Lauren if he could walk her to her car. She hesitated, then agreed. In the parking lot, under the orange glow of the streetlights, Eli spoke. "I know I'm just a student, but I can't help how I feel about you. I see the way you look at me. I know I'm not imagining it." Lauren's heart pounded. She stepped back, trying to catch her breath. "Eli, you're a brilliant young man, and I care about you. But I'm your teacher. That's all." He looked crushed. "I thought you were different." The next day, Jason confronted her in the hallway. "Do you like him?" he demanded, eyes burning. "Is that why you keep pushing me away now?" "Jason, this isn't appropriate. You never answered my messages. I poured my heart out, and you ignored me." She walked away, shaking. This had gotten out of control. And she had let it. At the senior trip, everything collapsed. On the second night, while most students were gathered around the bonfire, Jason and Eli disappeared. Panic set in. Staff spread out to look for them. They were found behind one of the cabins, screaming at each other. Shoving. The argument escalated until another teacher pulled them apart. Back at the lodge, the truth unraveled. Jason told the chaperones everything. About the texts, the late-night conversations, how he and Eli had both fallen for the same teacher, how they believed she felt the same. Eli, silent for most of it, finally confirmed Jason's story with a simple nod. Lauren was summoned by the principal the next morning. The school district launched an immediate investigation. While there was no evidence of physical misconduct, the emotional entanglement, the lack of clear boundaries, was damning enough. She was placed on administrative leave pending review. The news didn't go public, but the story spread like wildfire through the school and the town. Parents were outraged. Some demanded her firing. Others defended her, saying she was just someone who cared too much. Students were divided. But the damage was done. Jason transferred schools. Eli withdrew from most of his classes and stopped writing altogether. Lauren resigned quietly before the investigation concluded. She packed up her classroom alone, late in the evening, hoping to avoid anyone seeing her cry.